who will be owned by everybody, who will not be the candidate of any single party, a candidate who will be a symbol of national unity. That is why Adama Barrow is standing as an independent candidate so that all parties will own him. That is why he has a color which is gray, usually called ash, which is not in line with any other political party in the country. The symbol is a finger pointing, showing one nation, one people. Indeed. It is important for everybody to understand that a divided nation is a failed nation.
Indeed.
And
at pains to make a crucial point, this is Halifa Sallah in 2016 as spokesperson of the parties that came together to endorse Adama Barrow as independent presidential candidate, the first time in the history of the Gambia. But the coalition government collapsed as soon as the new president was sworn in.
Coalition 2016 had nothing to do with whatever political parties did or demonstrations and all. It had nothing to do with that. Coalition 2016 came out of a clear agenda to try to participate in elections to remove Jammeh to the ballot box. And the tactic started by calling the presidential candidates, because in the past, when you call political parties, it's very complex. In most instances, they derail the process. But if you call people who are ready to go to the battle as presidential candidates, then even if some do not agree, others will, then you can go ahead. And that's how it started at Kairaba Hotel, a hotel that was already under the control of the government. So by starting it there, we sent a signal to the government that there was no form of subversion. This was meant for elections. And that's where we started the journey. So to answer your question, we started a journey with people who thought that we were pushing them into something that will serve our interests, that will be self-serving. And they were surprised that at the end, when they chose the person they wanted to choose, we went and supported the person and campaigned for the person for victory to begin. But I remember when he returned from Senegal, he was properly briefed. When he went to start the process of cabinet formation, he saw the party leaders, and it appears he can explain what he did more than I could, but it appears that he offered each of them some positions, and consequently a position or some position. And consequently, those leaders accepted. For me as a person, that was the end of the coalition.
2016 rather came with a whole lot of hope, to the extent that we thought the Gambia actually was going to usher in the new Gambia. But because of political greed, that aspiration has been shattered. And then now the focus is on the UDP as the liberator, the only party that can actually liberate the Gambia from its current political decadence, gross inefficiencies, corruption, which is becoming chronic, hopelessness. We know even to actually, the affordability of basic food and services is becoming, definitely unaffordable. So we all know the reality of the situation in the Gambia calls for political change, and then all hopes are on the UDP, in 2026 to actually liberate the Gambia and then usher in the proper new Gambia.
Based on our recent interview, Halifa Sallah is now trying to rally his troops to support another coalition against President Adama Barrow.
Emphasizing to you is that a coup d'etat occurred in 1994. If we wanted to position Lloyd, we would have accepted ministerial posts in 1994. I'm sorry, coup d'etat occurred in 1994. We would have positioned Lloyd, moved with those people and say, let's build a coalition government, position Lloyd until whatever. Of course, we would have had more votes, we would have had more money, we could have been somewhere else. 2016, we could have positioned ourselves vice president, speaker of the National Assembly, etc., and get ambassadorial position and try to position the party. So obviously the party could have been farther than where it is. But what is our objective? Our objective is to eradicate the poverty of our people. So if that is not our mission, then what is our focus? Why all these years? What are we looking for? I was just telling somebody recently, when somebody said, well, when CDS said Halifa may come back, no, what type of coming back, or what are you looking for? You may be like Mugabe. I said that people are dreaming. We went all the way to the goalpost. And there is no goalkeeper. You can just kick the ball and become a vice president or become a speaker and just get close to the president and say, well, maybe now you can go for 3 terms, I don't mind. And then after the 3 terms, well, you live it just like Putin and his colleague in Russia. Halifa Saleh could have easily done that. So if your eye is just the president, that is the quickest way to get there because we've already gone to the goalpost.
On paper, the United Democratic Party, UDP, is best poised to beat Adama Barrow in 2026. That is, if you talk to Europeans.
We all know the reality of the situation in the Gambia calls for political change. So your question in a very, quickly, yes, fundraising before 2026 is going to be intensified. Okay, and then preparations are on the way to actually host the mother of all four, fundraising events to be hosted in the United States. Applications have been processed, and any state that gets selected as the winner would be known, and then the date would be fixed for that mega fundraising to be conducted.
It is not clear if other parties are going to consider any chances of forming a coalition against Barrow. Already, Barrow's camp is emboldened. Coalition or no coalition, NPP is ready to take on anyone in the political ring.
Barrow! Barrow! Barrow!